welcome to Newsclick. Today we are going to discuss about Film and Television Institute of India, which has seen appointment of Gajendra Chauhan as its chairman, which has met wide range of resistance from people, from students, from alumni. There has been a protest across the country. To discuss the issue, we have with us Kislay, who is students of FTII and also an ex-general secretary of the Students' Union. Hello Kislay.
Hello.
To start the discussion, we would want to know what is the role of chairman of the governing council in functioning of FTI.
See, first of all, let's discuss what governing council is. Governing council is the highest decision-making body of the institute. So basically, FTI is an autonomous body under IMB ministry, which means governing council takes all the decisions of the institute. Now, chairperson heads the governing council. He chairs the meeting of the council. In that sense, all academic decisions, all decisions about its financial structures, all decisions about its new courses, new teachers, everything has to be passed in the governing council. So it becomes a very, very important body, as the chairman not only takes calls on the academic decisions, but also in terms of what new courses have to be introduced. If there's a new wing has to be set up, then where it has to go. Plus the chairman also in its day-to-day functioning represents the institute with INB ministry in different awards, goes to places and represents the institute. So it's very important that whatever the chairman or chairperson thinks about the institute, what that person feels about the films of the institute, has to be in sync what the institute represents, what kind of films it churns out on a day-to-day basis. And in the case of Gajendra Chauhan, he has done some work, but unfortunately that's not the kind of film which institute has been known for making it. It's laughable because it's the IMB ministry, which also selects, say, judges for national awards, So suppose it suddenly takes up some actor, who has been working in some serials and makes him or her the jury, the main jury for judging films for national award. Now there will be uproar among filmmakers, because the national awards are the country's premier awards, One has to have a certain standing to judge that awards. In the same way, FTI is also a premier institute, If one reads the earlier committee reports there, why the institute was set up, So it very categorically remarks that of course one of the aspects is to produce quality technicians which can improve our filmmaking, but other than that, it was to seriously think about the film practice, to give a boost to the regional cinema. Now if we see Mr. Gajendra Chauhan and we see his record, we see he has never ever made, any thoughtful or engagement with any kind of artistic work, be it cinema, be it theatre, be it painting or any other artwork. On the other hand, we regularly see him on bhajans, singing praise of Asaram Bapu.
आदरणीय परम श्रद्धेय परम पूजनीय आशाराम बापू जी को दंडवत प्रणाम करता हूं। आपके जीवन की इसी हार को जीत में बदलने तथा आपको जीवन के सभी कष्टों व बाधाओं से मुक्ति दिलाने हेतु काशी के विश्व प्रसिद्ध प्रकांड विद्वान, ज्योतिषाचार्य, रत्न विशेषज्ञ एवं आध्यात्म गुरु डॉक्टर लक्ष्मण दास जी लेकर आए हैं असली रत्नों से जड़ित सर्व बाधा मुक्ति महाकवच।
Doing all these things,
selling brands,
doing all these teleserials. So I'm not passing a judgment on him per se. One is free to do that, but a person like that we feel is not suitable to head an institute like FTII. And please remember that he is being the chairperson, because he keeps talking in his interviews that, I will learn on the job, I mean, if he was taking admission as a student, I will say, okay, fine, we students go, we learn on the job, we decide. But he is going to be the captain.
There has been also claims on the media from people's side that it's a politically motivated movement which FTI students have raised. What's the main reason behind opposing appointment of Gajendra Chauhan and other members of the council?
INB ministry appoints chairman, We have also, there have been many committees and we have also raised this issue that an artistic institute head should not be solely appointed by the ministry. In many art institutes there is a practice that, say, a committee or a membership proposes 3 names, and then the government selects one name out of those 3 names. It's not like a complete choice of the government. So we have also been opposing that, because then in a systematic manner we reduce the interference of the political party at the helm of power. Now Congress government appointed, the last chairman was Mr. Saeed Mirza. People can have their own thinking, can have their own politics, but Saeed Mirza is a known name, to doing a certain kind of films, to and he has come in the institute, he has taken our workshops, he has been regularly involved with the institute. So of course, why should we oppose it? You know, here is somebody who seriously thinks about the cinema, give interviews about the cinema, and then comes to the institute and engages with the students. Before that, there was Mr. U.R. Anantmurthy. Now let me tell you that we did oppose Anantmurthy when the institute passed, you know, appointed a private consultancy firm, this was Hewitt Associates, and asked them to do a analysis of the institute, you know, the financial analysis of the institute. So then we did oppose his decision, you know, of appointing that particular firm, but we didn't oppose him per se, because again, he may not be from filmmaking, but he is a known artist, you know, a known author who has an overall vision about whatever art he or she is engaging in. So that's what we demand from a chairperson, you know, that's what we think a chairperson should be. So it's not about BJP or a government, you know, it's about the government blatantly appointing Mr. Gajendra Chauhan, and not only Mr. Gajendra Chauhan. If you look at other members of the governing council, then they are not like a known name, you know, either in films or in theatre, you know. I mean, any artist, you know, who has done a certain practice, you know, a 10-year practice or a 15-year, will have a certain name beyond the political ideology in which that artist believes in, will have a body of work, you know, would have given opinion, interviews related to art, you know, and through that art, at least you can engage that beyond his or her personal politics, how he or she thinks about the art. I feel that is what is very important, and all the appointees, including Mr. Gajendra Chauhan, at least 5 members who have been chosen in this particular governing council, we feel have solely been chosen on their political ideology.
Kislay, people are also saying that FTII is an elite institution. What the films which they make are not for the common people, it's just for awards, and it goes to award functions and it wins award, but it's not for the common people. Also, the nature of the protest, which they say, the students which they study there are not the common students what these people are saying. What's the nature of the students organization there? Is it just like any political organization that works in other universities, like we say in Delhi University? You have been part of Delhi University also. So what's the nature of the students organization, and what's the nature of the films that FTII produces?
I think I'll first talk about the kind of students which come in the institute, you know. In a popular imagination, you know, people almost compare it with institutes like IIM, you know, which invites, you know, or attracts a certain kind of students, you know, and they feel that FTII is also perhaps an institution like that, you know. I mean, I will say largely, say a middle class students comes over there, but it's not like that people only from a certain cities come in. There are two regions which really dominates in FTII. Is one is Bengal, West Bengal, and the other one is Kerala. Now, why that happens? Because both the regions have a strong film practice, you know, have a tradition of filmmakers, regional filmmakers since 1950s, 60s, continuously doing filmmaking. So because of that, there is a strong film culture over there. You know, there are many film clubs. That's why even from very small places and regions, you know, the students from these particular regions come over there. Now we are consistently trying to, you know, spread it out so that we have a all India representation. And that's why you will see there's a lot of focus on, say, attracting students from not so, which don't have such a rigorous tradition of filmmaking. That's why, you know, some 4 years back, earlier the FTII exams used to be held in, you know, 5 or 6 cities. It was increased to almost 15 cities, you know, in very small places like Agartala, like Allahabad, you know, very small places, the not so metro cities, so that students are able to know and give exams of these places. Students Council also proposed that, you know, not only in Hindi and English, but even in, say, regional language, all the entrance exams should happen. And we have been consistently doing that in terms of fees, you know, because we are very careful of what fees the institute charges. There are private institutes like Whistling, even government institutes like National Institute of Design. If you see their fee structure, especially of a video course, you will see it's anything between 5 lakh to 15 lakh per annum. Now that's an exorbitant amount, you know. Ordinary student or a lower middle class student, you know, won't be able to afford it. That's why consistently, you know, we have been putting the pressure on the government, even though there's a lot of pressure on the students that every year the fees should increase. We have been saying no. This is the only institute where a student from marginal background can come and study, and that's why we will not allow you to increase the fees at any cost. Plus, I mean, FTII has 50% of students from non-upper caste, in fact, no, more than 50% and it also has teachers, from different regions, from different castes. So it's, what I'm trying to say, it's not like an institute like IIM, which only has a certain kind of people, a certain kind of students coming in. So you see, a student association is not just concerned about, of only protesting in a certain sense. I mean, media unfortunately only highlights when issues takes place in national imagination. Otherwise, in its day-to-day activities, it is consistently thinking about what kind of the campus it is, what kind of campus it will be in 10 years if we don't oppose certain things, and in that sense having a large vision about an institute and not just opposing A person, B person or C person. Now let's come to your second question, which was about elitism, of a certain kind, of producing films which is considered elite. Now you see, it's a travesty of filmmaking in India, that because we have this huge monolith called Bollywood, which dominates in everybody's imagination, in their film viewing practices. Because of that, the regional films, the films made on the margins, the independent films, they are not yet taken up, in the mainstream. They are not discussed as much. In the universities, there were earlier film clubs which used to show these films, but now they are absent. So because of that, the common person, the common students may not have been able to engage with this kind of cinema. But there's a larger politics involved in keeping it elite. I mean, a film like Albert Pinto ko gussa kyun aata hai, a film like Mohan Joshi Hazir Ho, they are about common people, they are about predicament of common people. They talk about the politics of that place. They talk about in what sense individual lives gets defined by the larger political forces, and it will be very good if, say, a common person, a working class human being, a Dalit family, and all of these are able to see these films, and in that sense question it, relate with it, engage with it, and that will be the beauty of cinema. I mean, we as film practitioners, as somebody who are involved with films, will want to have a world like that, and not just show your films in festivals. But unfortunately, this kind of space has consistently been reduced in mainstream, and the only space which this and I do feel that it's almost like, I won't say it's a conspiracy, but that is the times we live in, that the only kind of space which is open for us remains festivals.
Kislay, this would be my last question, that if we look at the current government, the practices which it has been following, it's the similar pattern of putting an end to the voices which you are raising. It's putting an end to the resistance. So what's the way ahead? Because the ministry has told the FTI students that if you don't agree by what we have said, you all will be expelled. You will have to leave. So what's the way ahead for FTI students? What's your demand, and where is this strike leading towards?
See, in terms of demand, we are very clear that we do want this governing council to be dissolved, or if at least all the 4 or 5 members, on whose credibility there is a question mark, who doesn't have a serious body of work, they should be removed, and only then a talk can begin. So our demand, in terms of our demand, we are very clear. The strike will go on until these immediate issues are resolved, and thankfully we have received a lot of support from different organizations across the India. There was a protest in Kozhikode, there was a protest in Trivandrum, there's protest in Jadavpur University, there's a regular march happened in Kolkata. 2 days back there was a protest in Delhi. So I mean, cultural organizations, political organizations, students, generally they are coming out and supporting us. So you see, this has actually touched a chord with people and students across India, because they have been seeing how the government is functioning. So, and that has really encouraged us a lot. And so definitely till the government accepts our demands, till it's able to accept that, okay, that this is, we roll this back, and also in fact sets up a mechanism so that this random interventions by the government should not happen. Until this is placed, I feel the strike will go on, because this is like a very, very important moment we have come to. And I do feel that there is also a lot of expectations from people across that, that this kind of high-handedness by the government have to be opposed. Otherwise, it's going to get worse and worse,
Okay, so we would like to end here on a positive note that struggle is the way ahead. Thank you, Kislay, for giving us your time. As the things proceed, we'll come back to you. Thank you for watching Newsclick.